The field is growing in the 2024 presidential race with former Vice President Mike Pence and North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum entering the race. The total number of Republican candidates now stands at 12. This comes as two Democrats are challenging President Biden for the White House in the Democratic primary. That's RFK Jr. and Marianne Williamson. And just this week, a third-party candidate jumped into the race, Dr. Cornell West, who launched his bid as a member of the People's Party. And Dr. West joins us now. So, Dr. West, let me start with the obvious question. How are you running to win, or are you running to get your issues of importance that you think Joe Biden is not paying enough attention to the forefront?
Well, I mean, one, my dear brother, that you always have a calling to win. You want to bear witness at the highest level of quality, integrity, and honesty that you can. So, yes, I'm trying to push toward the finish line. Why? Because I want to reintroduce America to the best of itself. And it's fairly clear that Brother Trump, neo-fascist gangster, not the best. Brother Biden, neoliberal hypocrite, not the best. I want the legacy of Martin Luther King Jr., Dorothy Day, Abraham Joshua Heschel, and Edward Said, and Chief Joseph, and Grace Lee Boggs, and Louise Moreno. These are those fighting for poor and working people. Both parties stand in the way of the empowerment of poor and working peoples. Both parties tied Wall Street, militarism, Pentagon, tied to Silicon Valley. What about the 60% of precious Americans of all colors who are struggling every day and month to put food on the table and are hardly doing it, while the 1% is simply tied to their quests for the luxurious life? American democracy not just is at stake, the whole planet, Brother Jake. You know that, man, with fossil fuels. And look at the debt ceiling agreement. We can make a deal with Brother Manchin in terms of his pipeline that will do in not just working class people's spaces, but ecological collapse given what's going on the East Coast. But we can't make a deal with him in terms of voting rights in regard to the filibuster. That's Brother Biden. We need something better. Where's the best of the country?
Yeah.
Not just the working people here, but around the world, because the militarism abroad is something that I'm deeply concerned about, be it in Latin America, be it in Africa, be it in the Middle East.
So I hear you, but these elections often do come down to a binary choice between the Democrat and the Republican. Dr. Lawrence Tribe, a Harvard University professor, as you were, tweeted, WTF, you know what that stands for. Does Cornell West really want to help the GOP nominee win the way Ralph Nader helped George W. Bush defeat Al Gore in 2000? Please stop this foolishness before you really hurt the things you care to help, unquote. His fear, obviously, that you would sap away enough votes of progressives who otherwise would vote for Joe Biden and thus deliver the White House to the Republican, making things worse than they would be under Biden, in Lawrence Tribe's view. Your response?
Well, one, I mean, Brother Tribe, he's looking at the world again through these Manichaean views. You get either this or that, Tweedledee, Tweedledum, frick or frack. Neo-fascist catastrophe, neoliberal disaster. Are disasters better than catastrophes? Absolutely. But are disasters disasters? Absolutely still. So the idea that Brother Trump would reduce, Brother Tribe would reduce what I'm trying to do and focus on this unbelievable suffering and social misery of poor and working people around the world to some ego vanity. I said, good God almighty, what are you doing? Do you actually think that the rich legacies of the figures that I talked about can be reduced to their ego vanity when they moved in the electrical political context? Part of the problem is people who believe it's either the Democrats or the Republicans have left out serious discussion of mass incarceration, left out of what's been going on around the world, 800 military bases around the world. From the vantage point of the West Bank, our precious Palestinian brothers and sisters, what does it look like in terms of the bombs dropped by the U.S. government by either party? Same is true with working people in other parts of the world. This is a moral and a spiritual issue. It's not simply narrow strategic thinking of neoliberals who view the world in terms of either Republicans or Democrats. Brother Jake, we will never defeat fascism, which is on the march, by milquetoast neoliberalism. Neoliberalism will only be a caretaking postponement of the fascism. You got to get at the source of it. That's why I'm going straight into Trump country, my brother. I'm talking to some of my white brothers and sisters who are following the neo-fascist Pied Piper. I'm concerned about your suffering. Look another way. the words of Martin King. Let us embrace one another by accenting our best. That includes acknowledging those who right now are on the other side. We want realignment. We want what my dear brother Clifton West calls a paradigm shift in American politics. That's in part what this is about, my brother.
Let me ask you just a practical question. Where do the People's Party, where will you be on the ballot? Will you be on the ballot in Michigan? Will you be on the ballot in Wisconsin? I don't think the People's Party was on the ballot in all 50 states last time. Are you hoping to get on the ballot in every state or even just the battleground states?
We're trying to get on the ballot in every state, which means we've got to get the requisite signatures in each state. We are in process of ensuring to make sure we get on that ballot. As you know, People's Parties broke away from Brother Bernie's attempt in 2016. So we're very new at this in that regard. But most importantly, we just want to make sure that our fellow citizens get a chance to see what the best of America is about. The best of America and the best of any nation is about fighting for poor and working people, no matter what color, gender, sexual orientation, and not just confining it to the states. I'm talking about solidarity with Iranians dealing with fascist Iranian elites. I'm talking about solidarity with workers in Brazil. I'm talking about solidarity with workers in Guatemala. This is an international project, my brother. That's what Martin Luther King was concerned when he said the bombs dropped in Vietnam fall in ghettos and hoods and barrios and poor white sections. We have got a professional managerial class that has turned its back too often for the plight of the most vulnerable. That's my tradition. That's what this campaign is all about, my brother.
So, Dr. West, I have a ton more questions, but we're out of time. You can see by the clock. Come back. I'm going to just cut and paste, and we're going to ask these questions about your policies and your platforms next time you're here. Open invitation. We love having you on.
No, indeed. Salute you, brother. You stay strong. God bless your loved ones, man.
You too as well, Dr. West. Thank you so much for joining us.
Breakdown Friday, Joseph Ward, Professor Carl Tone Jones, Super Patrick in the building. What's going on? We are here to break down Cornell West running for president. And I have his website pulled up, so I am going to share my screen in a little bit so we can look over his policies and dive more into what he's talking about as far as running for president. He said a lot there. He said a lot. But he did say, where I want to start off is what he said, well, his answer for why is he running? Because the gentleman asked him, is he just running to try to steal votes from the Republican side, or is he running to win? And of course, you know, he gave the Cornell style answer that he's running to win. But in that, he said one of the goals is to reintroduce America to the best of itself. PC, I'm gonna start with you. When you hear, first of all, what are your overall thoughts about, just off the top of your head before we dive deep, what are your overall, just off the head top thoughts about Cornell West, or your first thoughts when you hear about Cornell West running for president?
Yeah, all right. So, I mean, he must be bored. He run out of things to do over there, Yall. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, man. Like, what's going on, bro? Like the wife give you problems at home. You trying to get out on the road? Like, what's good? I'm really not. I'm really trying to like take it seriously because I think he might be serious. But you know, I've listened to Cornell West for the better part of 30 years. Right. First time I actually met Cornell West was in 1992 when he came to Bloomsburg University, and he came out with a book called Race Matters. I read that book. I don't have it now, but I think I got it autographed by him. It was a brief meet and greet. The next time I met Cornell West was at LaSalle University. I think it might have been 2012, 2013. Actually, no, it might have been 2014. I met him at LaSalle University. And one of the questions I asked him back then was if we had the power to change our condition And his answer was, no, we don't have the power to change it. We need to influence the power brokers to change, to do what he just said, change the tide of power. Like, so I'm trying to figure, like, what happened in the last 10 years for him to figure out that maybe he can be that. And especially when you run as a third party in a country that's predisposed to only vote for two parties. So
Yeah. He
So-
talking big too.
well, he always talk big, and it's funny listening to him talk because he gets into like I when I listen to Cornell West talk, Dr. Cornell West talk, I close my eyes. I feel like I'm in a spoken word program. Like it sound the shit is deep when he's saying it, but after a while he be like, that was some deep. That was deep. Like, what somebody tell me, what the fuck did he say? So I'm trying to take him seriously, but I really can't. And I think that this is some attention seeking, ploy that he's doing right now. If we're going to be honest about it.
Okay. So what are your thoughts about his answer in saying that he wants to reintroduce America to the best of itself?
When has America ever been the best of itself?
Well, that's what I was thinking.
Like for who? I'm gonna go like Ricky Waters, man. For who? For what? Like when was when was America ever the best of itself? America has been in turmoil from day one. Let's just get that out the way. America emerged to become an empire through domestic terrorism of its own and policies that always disenfranchise somebody in this country, mainly us. So when he's talking about, when I heard him talking about my brother Donald Trump and my brother Joe Biden, I'm like, fam, they ain't brothers. They ain't brothers of ours. Even so when you talk about taking us back to the best times of America, I'm just trying to figure out when that was. Because as Black people, there's never been a time in this country we haven't been warred on. So, and obviously he's not just speaking for us, he's speaking for the culture of the country. Are you talking about when you had shows like Leave It to Beaver, Gomer Pyle? Because while those shows were on the air showing the best of the nuclear family and the golly shucks nature of white folk, they were out in the street terrorizing people, burning down cities. So, and lynching and assassinating Black folk. So, what point in time is he trying to take us to? Like, where's his hot tub time machine where he's going to take us back to that place where what Michael Trump, what Trump say, make America great again? When is he going to take us back to those areas, to that area? I'm done.
Hey, all right. So Pat, off the top of it, first thoughts. What are your first thoughts when you hear about Cornell West running for president?
Honestly, me and PC probably had the exact same first thought because I was like, "Yo, this dude bored. Like he ain't got nothing better to do with his time than this." Like, and that's not even like that's like real talk. Like those was my first thoughts. And then the second thought was, we know how this works with third party candidates. You get vilified by the people that you're trying to win over because people see it as you splitting the vote, dividing the party. Your reputation takes a hit. The other side loves you because you are, in fact, because of the nature of American politics, you are, in fact, splitting the party. And then you end up getting nothing done. That at best, you build some sort of business off of the newfound celebrity that you gained, which was my third or fourth thought. Maybe he's finna open a business. Maybe he got a clothing line finna come out of,
Got
or
an
a
album
book he
dropping.
finna sell or something. But I agree with PC in that note too. Him and Michael Eric Dyson. When I hear them speak, I want to turn a beat on.
Like it should be some candles burning, incense burning.
Yeah. And it's one of the things that is interesting to me is I think both of those brothers, I mean, and I gotta say both of them because I did bring up Michael Larry Dyson. Both of them are brilliant. Like those are not stupid men. They're not stupid men at all. Um, but I understand what they're saying, so I'd be like, why do you feel the need to word it like that?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't you just talk in a way that the average person will understand you? Like, why are you going out of your way to show that you're intelligent in a way that has no meaning whatsoever?
Hey,
Like, you flexing with vocabulary words, bro.
I, I got you feeling like
So it's just like I know those words. I can talk like that too, but like PG said, Ricky Watershed for who and for what?
so. Okay, so your thoughts on reintroducing America to the best of itself?
I mean, I think he pretty much answered that question when he like let's be clear here, black people. A Dr. West presidency is not a win for black people.
Well, that's why we discussing this.
Yeah, no, that's not. And what I mean is, he said it in the interview. Him, if he somehow magically got elected, he would be more concerned with put
International
it this way.
affairs.
He
Mm-hmm.
would be everybody's president, not
Right.
just the black president.
We've
So
heard that
And
before.
hold up. Let's put it. We're gonna put a pin in that and come back to that
okay.
because
Um
I do want to dive into that, but I want to kind of give that its own time.
no, okay, but just to finish the thought, and
Hmm.
it would be worse than the Barack Obama presidency because he's worried about everybody on the planet. So we'll stop right there. Um but I with that being said, if he's talking about America as a nation, as a national culture and society, making America great again is not going to make it great for black people. Because when America was thriving, black people were not. So I don't. But black people have this idealized version of America. It's real interesting. Black people treat America the way women treat men, right? Like you
Yeah.
you you never gonna find that dude, right? Like you're never gonna find him. But in your mind, he exists. And he's always existed. And he's everywhere. Like that's the way black people like to black people, even though America has never shown any characteristics or traits of benevolence or any sort of good thing to black people, in our minds, America is the nicest, sweetest, most wholesome, family oriented nation that the world has ever seen. And all we got to do to get what we need is remind America of how wonderful America actually is. And then you got those of us like, well, but look behind you. Like, no, look at what America really is. Like, look, open your eyes. Look.
Hey, what's that? What's that Kevin Samuel sound? You know we can see you lying.
So I don't,
Oh,
and
man.
I'm a superhero.
No, so
Right.
when I last Friday when I was last Friday wasn't the first time I heard it, but last Friday when I was actually just scrolling and I saw a video of that video, or no, that wasn't that particular video, but I saw a video of Cornell West announcing he's running for president. Okay, so I was in patty mode, so I was like, "Yeah, let's see where this goes. This gonna be kind of fun to watch. It's gonna be. I want to see what happens. I wanna get my popcorn ready, and I want to see what happens because I'm not taking it serious, and I wish I could take it serious. But the reason why I'm not taking it serious is for one of the things is I don't think America takes him serious as far as a true potential candidate for presidency. I don't think enough black people will take him serious. But one in the video, one of the things he talked about is, first of all, being in that third party, but you need to get on the ballots in all 50 states. You need to make sure you're on the ballots in all 50 states. But you're fighting an uphill battle within a party that don't have the resources to battle the other two parties. So it's almost like he will be the candidate for the Green Party, but we won't hear from him the same way we would hear from the other candidates. So it'll be out there, but I don't think that he will be able to shake enough to make a difference for the Democratic or even challenge the Democratic or the Republican candidates. It's Cornell West. I mean, I want to grab my popcorn and hear what he say. I wish he would be invited to the debates, because
make the debate stage. Thank you. For
well, right, because he's a part of the Green Party, and the Green Party ain't invited to the debates, right?
So ain't big enough.
No resources. So you strapped yourself to a party with no resources. Also, like we talked about, the international outlook that he's having, that will appeal to some people, but I don't think that will appeal to the right people who he would need to back him. I mean, because especially like black people like us, because when I'm listening at a candidate like him, I'm listening at what exactly he's saying. I'm not trying to interpret anything. I'm listening to what he's saying, and then I'm listening to what he's saying about us as black people. And he gonna be for the people. He want to talk about the military bases around the world. He want to have that international appeal. So I mean, I got my popcorn ready. Really, I think we all do. I'm hood with it. I got the popcorn with the hot sauce on. So. and then talking about reintroducing America to the best of itself. I mean, we all on the same page. Come on now. But once again, that's the rhetoric that he has to use to try to get that international appeal, or try to get put out the image of, I'm not just this president for black people. I am a president of the people, because he talked about the poor people and the working class people. He routinely mentioned the poor people and the working class people. And he routinely, on more than one occasion, rather, he mentioned, this is the stand that Dr. King was taking. And also, I think he's, of course, the political tricks, pulling at people's emotional heartstrings and saying, I am standing on the shoulders of these specific people, these specific legends. And with me standing on these shoulders, this is what I am doing for the people. And
no,
it's like,
he's not, Joe. No, he's not.
I mean, we hear him talking.
No, because let's be clear, two things real quick. One, the names he listed, half of the people he talking to don't even know who they is.
No, right.
So he not pulling at nobody's heartstrings with them.
Well,
and man,
that's the attempt.
Even when he referred to Martin King, I know several people that if you leave that L out, they don't know who you talking about.
Right.
I'm not saying, I never said he was successful.
So, but then go ahead, PC.
I was just gonna say,
No, I mean, but let's acknowledge that's the attempt.
I think it's bullshit. I think what he's out here for is that his name is not ringing like it used to, and a lot of these older, they just can't go off in the sunset. They just can't go off in the night. They can't. They have not prepared a group to replace them. They have not prepared a group to replace them in terms of leadership. They have not groomed anybody to come after them. They want to hold on to this attention as long as possible. He's just one of them. And so this is just another. I think this is some chicanery, some kind of tactic to make himself relevant. And then you don't even have the decency to say you're doing this for black people. You're doing this for all the poor people. So in other words, this ain't even Dr. King's. You know, Dr. King had a poor people's march that he was planning for DC before he got and assassinated, rather. But you know, this is more so the proletariat plan of the Panthers, and they tried to utilize the proletariat plan to gather more international support behind their struggle, and they failed. They failed like terribly at doing that. You know what I'm saying? Getting the international help behind them. So what is he trying to prove? He's trying to, you know, if you're trying to do that, then running for president is the wrong thing. You need to be trying to get a post in the United Nations as an ambassador or something, so that you can be out and travel the world and be, you know, that figure. You can't do that figure as the president. That president job is way too. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. Because you made me think about something, because he did state that he's against the 1%. He wants to be able to challenge the 1% or dismantle the 1%. But looking at his policies, because these are the 6 of his policies that he's using. And so since I just talked about what he said about, you know, challenging the 1% or being against the 1%, this right here in the red, in the bottom left-hand corner in the red, said, end the wars, bring our troops home, and invest those trillions of war dollars into American communities. Now, you're not gonna win off just saying that right there. Like, come on now. Because if you become president, you are serving the 1%. Let's just be real.
He is the 1%.
I was just gonna say that he is the 1%.
Is he going like let the charity start at home? Like, come to North Philly and start, you know, just passing out bags of money or buying up some buildings in our communities and neighborhoods, and you start be the change you wish you were. What did Gandhi say? Be the change you wish the world to be, or some shit like that. Yeah, something like that. Dude, like this is out of pocket, man. Like to take this seriously is disrespectful at this point. He probably, one of his students probably put this damn this list together of things he's going to do in regards to like his policy. This looks like a high school project. But nah, man, come on, man. I mean, you know what? I needed a day for shits and giggles, and this was right on time.
Go ahead, Pat.
Well, the thing is, all 6 of them things are not things within the scope of the president's power. So let's start there. Only Congress can start and end wars. That takes an act of Congress. Only Congress can expand civil liberties. We've seen what happened when presidents try to use executive orders to do that. The next president can come in and undo it. Only Congress can do that. Protect the environment. Congress. Medicare for all. Congress. Revitalize the economy. Shit, that ain't even Congress. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's from 1913.
You know what I'm saying? Create true democracy. Well, now you're talking about creating a whole new country. Like, so my thing is, if we being real about it, I don't.
That's where I'm at.
Because, and even with that, even if I wanted to give him, again, we go back to black folk mimicking or trying to continue something that white folks have built. The same as we do with the Divine Nine and blah, blah, blah. This is a movement that was primarily pushed into prominence by Bernie Sanders. You ain't even had a respect for the people you trying to represent, to create your own shit independent. You're building something that was started by a 1%er, as a 1%er, continuing to pretend to fight the 1%. What happened when Bernie Sanders made his millions of dollars selling that book? They asked him about it in an interview, and he said, well, if people have a problem with my money, then they should write a book. Well, that's a very progressive statement, isn't it? From the most progressive and liberal white man we've ever seen since Dr. Martin Luther King decided to take black people on the exercise campaign.
Hey,
Feel the burn.
hey.
You gotta feel the burn.
But see, but that's why I am, because I want, the reason why I want to break this down, because I want us to make sure we're taking a realistic look at a black candidate, or all candidates there is. Because when the elections come around, of course, we breaking that stuff down, but we need to make sure that we are properly vetting all candidates. But just because a candidate looks like us, I want to make sure, because now he's not running as a Democrat, so I really don't think black people are gonna really rally behind him like that. But it's just the fact that someone like him, or just for in the future when black people run, because we've already seen what we got with Obama. We ain't heard from Kamala. Black people were so excited about having Kamala. We ain't heard from Kamala, right? And so we need to take politics more serious. We used to talk about this all the time on the Freedom Train. We need to take politics more serious. We need to do more studying. We need to make sure we're looking at people's platforms, asking the right questions. Make sure we're not just going in the booths and just checking off people's names because we like that person or they talk fancy. Because listening to the rhetoric that Cornell West is giving us, and then looking at his policies, it just doesn't seem realistic. I mean, I understand the political dance and the parade that people have to put on, but we live in the real world. We exist in the real world, and this doesn't seem realistic. And it doesn't. I don't see how this. I want to know what strategy he will use to actually make this happen if he actually wins. Like, because listening to what Pat is saying, Congress, but so Cornell, what actual strategy will you be using to make sure that you can create true democracy? And what does that actually mean?
Man, he won't even make it to the inauguration.
Because he's saying clean out government corruption and create a true democracy. Get money out of politics and ban corporate lobbying. Man, you can't get money out of politics. You're going to need money to run your campaign. How are you going to get money out of politics?
Well, let's talk about the democracy part for one. Nowhere in the Constitution is the word democracy used.
It's a republic.
Yeah, we're in a republic, and so the democracy, the word for democracy, is one of those catchphrases in order to encapsulate the fandom, the people.
That's what I'm saying.
You're trying to talk, but there's no democracy here. Democracy is 51% of the people decide we're going to do something, and that's what we do. No, we have representation, which is a republic. That's one. And you're not going to change that because there's too much big money behind all the different things that's going on. And the big money is supporting both political parties. You got the left wing and the right wing, but they're the same bird. You know what I'm saying? And as you come in as a third party, like I said before, this wasn't even well thought out. This was something that it pulls at the heartstring of maybe college students who don't know well enough what politics is, who have truly never taken, because all you got to do is take a civics class and you know what all this means. I was a college professor for 11 years and 2 history degrees. One of the things I know for sure is that when you learn history, you can smell this bullshit coming a mile away. And when you see all these particular policies, this looks like something that this looks like something where these philanthropists push a movement like tobacco's bad, so they'll have a commercial with people just lying in the street with cigarette butts all over the place. This looks like something like that. This looks like something that like an outcast group of children or high school students or college students decide that they want to take a stand against pollution and all this other stuff, and they create gibberish like this. This is not how anybody who's presidential should even be talking. Donald Trump wasn't even this ridiculous when he was running, back in 2016. He wasn't even this ridiculous when he was talking about policies and his platform and what he would run on. Now he did, tell Jeb Bush, asked him if he measured up. But you know, but he wasn't even this ridiculous about this. Like he shouldn't even like. Did anybody proofread this? Like fact check this before you put it out there?
What
But go ahead, Pat.
no, I was gonna say, I think he's counting on the same ignorance, but he's pushing the boundaries of it too far. And this is where I say black folk gotta understand that the liberals are just as out of touch as as they claim the conservatives are. Um, to me, as a thinking black person, it's stupid for black people to even want to be in a true democracy.
Mm-hmm.
We're 14% of the population at best. Why would you want to be in a situation where 51% of the people determine everything? Now all of a sudden, not only do you have to deal with whites, which you already got to deal with, but you got to deal with everybody else that got more. Now it becomes a pure numbers game. Anybody that's got more than 40 million people in their representative block is able to overpower you. Why the fuck would you sign up to live in that?
Yeah. And we talked about population, you know, with the white population and the Hispanic population both being higher than the black population, that would put us in a bind. But remember, he said like his campaign and everything that's going on is a moral and spiritual issue. So going back to what I'm saying earlier I'm not saying he was successful at it, but he's trying to pull on them heartstrings. He's trying to find that connection with the people, that emotional connection with the people. Why else would he say this ain't no moral and political issue? This is purely a political issue. This is all politics. It's politics and economics.
I'm gonna tell you why he said that. You know how every rapper got their favorite bar? Lil Wayne loved talking about shitting. Got 10 bathrooms. I can shit all day. He loved talking about taking a dump in a toilet. Almost every verse I'd have never heard, Lil Wayne's gonna talk about taking a dump in the toilet. Every rapper got that bar, that one thing he liked. Cornell West is morality. That's his bar. That's his thing. Every time he opened his mouth to say something or do something, he has to say something about morality. That's why he said it. It's his style. It's his signature flavor. If anybody is pretending to be more Cornell West, who again is a very brilliant man, I'm not taking nothing away from his intelligence. But when I tell you that to me this is a joke, it's not because he's stupid. It's because I think he thinks we're stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the joke is.
Right.
Man,
I'm with you.
Career. He's trying to be like a television host or something, or he's trying to catch a YouTube stream or something.
Well, let's really look at the state of the world from a military standpoint. And he's talking about the 800 U.S. military bases around the world and wanting to bring troops back and spend money elsewhere. You're gonna mess up a lot trying to do that. It's like it's a lot more corruption gonna happen around there, especially if you're talking about being the global peace person that he is. Like you trying to pull those away, you're gonna destabilize a lot of places. Some of these places, those bases over there keeping stuff together. But you're not trying to be president long because you're trying to mess up the money. So let's just be real. The president's job isn't to mess up the money. The president's job is to maintain the status quo. So we hear what you're saying, but we know what your job is.
You know, the people that would be in the most trouble if he did that, ended wars all over the world, would be American tourists in all these other countries, because it would be open season on them. And when you pull back like that, like some of the things just keep. Let's face it, nobody truly outside of the Western world, nobody truly cares for America. You go anywhere in the world, and they pretty much they look at you like, man, if I didn't think they would drop bombs on us, man, they would find you cut up in a million pieces. And in terms of like taking politics serious, because all jokes aside, right, we really do need to take politics serious. This is why I say black people don't take politics seriously, because this is like spitting in our face for this man to actually even get the consideration that he's going to run for president using our skin to get in. You know what I'm saying? This is one of the things where we just don't really pay attention to the nuances, the long-term effects of any of the political uh, any of the politics that go forward. We just don't really pay it any mind, and all we care about is representation. We want a seat at the table. I mean, we don't talk about the intricacies of politics. We don't talk about any like these things here. Who did he ask in terms of this platform? Like, who did he ask to develop these particular platform points, for his election? Like, who did he ask? Who did he interview? Who did he poll in order to figure out what the people want? Because this don't even look like shit black people asked for. Protect the environment. Have you been on the block lately? All those potato chip bags and shit, man.
And that's why I said this ain't he. To me, it's a disrespect on a level, because it literally is a continuation of Bernie Sanders' platform. And let us not forget, Bernie Sanders lost.
Yeah.
And Bernie Sanders was a lot more popular than Cornell West is.
Yeah.
Picked
Yes.
up a lot earlier in the
And people took him a lot more serious than Cornell West.
Right. So
Yeah.
I think we gotta be like, one of the other points of mention here is again, not even is it possible, because I don't think they would take him out. You know what I'm saying? Congress has control of the purse strings. The reason why the Republicans started getting bold during the Trump period in office is because they had Congress too. The Democrats had just enough to make it an issue, but they had Congress. So that was like legitimate threat to enact real policies. Donald Trump just didn't have a unified Republican Party, but he had the power in terms of it just being conservatives in office. What we like to forget is that conservatives are split up just like liberals are. But he also was missing the know-how of how to get shit done in Congress. Cornell West is lacking the power. He's lacking the respect. He's lacking the know-how, the charm, and the charisma. There's literally, if he does get elected, it'd be basically a liberal version of Donald Trump.
He would fall in line.
They all
He
fall.
would he would not do these things. There's no dismantling of the status quo if he's in there. His job is to keep America going. Because look at this: expand civil liberties, guarantee equal rights to all Americans. We can stop it right there. You lying. How can you do that? How can you guarantee equal rights to all Americans? How can
And
you do
that's
that?
the question. That right there is why I said he can't even do half this shit. It ain't even about would it be okay if he did it. That's irrelevant. How does he do it?
Because
He
you can try to put something. America tried this before. America tried using even their military and their what's the not the Coast Guard, but the reserves. They've tried that before to help black Americans or help stop the racism from happening. You could put a law in place, but the law has to be enforced. And around the country in real America, how is that going to be enforced? How is Cornell West going to ensure that somewhere in small town America or even midtown America that equal rights is enforced? You can't even guarantee that in the big cities, in the metropolitan areas. So how do you do that in small town America? Restore freedom, restore free speech, press freedoms, and net neutrality. end surveillance, the drug war, mass incarceration, protect choice, stop CBDCs, regulate AI, break up big tech. Yeah, we hear you, but yeah. This is
But
how America runs. And until we dismantle the system, you lying to us.
well, he could in there because the president is the country's chief law enforcement officer and chief diplomat. So in theory, he could say that he's going to do those things. The problem is, again, all of those things have to be initiated through Congress. What congressional action can you ensure is going to happen as president that is going to give you the constitutional authority to create enforcement agencies to enforce these things? That
Right.
that to me becomes the larger question at hand. You've got to work with Congress to get look all these black people with all these "I Have a Dream" reenactments going on in their head. You better serve joining Congress than trying to become president.
Mhm.
You better serve. Now, do I think that's a good use of any sort of black energy? Not until we get local systems set up. Absolutely not. But if you want to go out there and do your best, impersonation of what the world should be in your brain, then go, but you better serve trying to achieve that goal by joining Congress. Figure, th- learn what the fuck the president does.
You know, like you said, he's for working people, he's for poor people, he's for the military abroad. He wants to make sure he take care of the international issues.
Where
That
he live?
right there takes that right there just takes us out of it. You
But
concentrate on international issues.
where does he live at? Like, do you live? You rebelling against the 1%? Your neighbors? Um,
The
like
kids you teach.
right? It's freaking Yale. Come on, man.
Yeah,
That's not even the top one
he,
percent. That's the top 10th of 1% that he
but
deals with, indulges with. When he
that's the
goes,
disingenuousness.
when he goes out in public, he doesn't engage with regular folk. He's engaging with other scholars, other places where you rub elbows with these 1%ers. You're not, you're out of touch with what really matters. And then like I'm saying, I'm looking at these policies. Listen, the man in New York who had a black son, like a black son, he said something about police brutality a few years ago, and he came in, marched into City Hall to talk to the police, and they all turned their back on him. This was in person. You can't enforce these policies if the people themselves are going to rebel against it. You know what this is going to be? This is going to be the real second civil war in his country if he does this, if he brings any of this to pass. Revitalize our economy. Let's check that out. Guarantee quality, what is it? Quality education, housing,
Housing,
what is it? Living
a
wage.
living wage, and paid leave to all, curb inflation, support unions, and expand Social Security, fix our infrastructure, and forgive all student debt.
See, here's the thing, right? Just for one of these boxes, it would take probably two full term presidencies just to get enough support to get one of these things passed. And then you wouldn't even get the ball started on all these other things because in politics, there's always concessions. Everybody is conceding something. Everybody is sacrificing something to get something they want. So to talk about any of these things, that means you're not even going to get all of what's printed in these little boxes. You're going to get a piece of this, a piece of that. And let me and see, we're just really having like a academic discussion about this because he's not going to even come close to sniffing a victory here. And I don't even think he's going to get enough votes to determine the races between the Democrats and the Republicans.
Well, that's the thing I think about is I'm not sure how serious he is if he, and it's sad to say, but I don't think he's that serious if he didn't join one of the two major parties. And I get it, you want to dismantle the two-party system. I get that, but you have to have power and resources to dismantle the two-party system. And the two-party system has to be replaced with something that won't just allow the whole political system to just fall apart. Because it sounds the ambition is there, and I'm listening to you, but the realism, because I'm looking at how America actually runs versus the idea of how we want America to run. And it has to be something of equal power and equal value that can challenge this two-party system and actually truly replace it. But we're also talking about, in doing that, that's in conjunction with replacing the system of white supremacy.
Well,
Cause it's this not like no fly-by-night thing. Like, okay, well, I am president now. Democrats and Republicans are no longer valid. No. We're talking about a whole structural system of white supremacy. And how much are you really going to challenge that? Because in challenging that, you're gonna mess up your own money too.
well, let's just be real about one thing. The real reason why he's running as a third party candidate is because he know that he would not have made it as a Democrat or
Right.
Republican through the primary.
Right.
He would
Wasn't
not
he a Democrat?
at one point, yeah. So
Okay.
he would not have made it through the primaries on either
Right.
one of those ballots. So that's just call that out right now. It wasn't no moral issue here. He made a calculated decision. This is well thought out. I mean, shit, we could run for president just like he did using the Green Party, the People's Party. They're desperate for anybody. You know what I'm saying? And one of us probably be taken more seriously because. Good.
Yeah, because we don't have the baggage. I think again, and even with what Joe was saying, in order to challenge the two-party system as a third-party candidate, you need clout, you need charm, and you need connections. The resources will come through the clout and the connections, right?
Yep.
But people got to take you serious. Again, I bring up Donald Trump because he's outside of Ronald Reagan. He's the JFK, okay, but he came from that type of family. So really, outside of Ronald Reagan, Donald Trump is the only true celebrity president that we've had that was a celebrity first, right? Those guys, after they made the push, were like the Republican Party was terrified of Donald Trump creating a third party, because at that point, after he had become president, he had the clout, they knew he had the charm, and they knew he had the connections.
And the people were hanging on to his words.
Right, that's the charm piece. Cornell West, for as brilliant as I keep saying that brother is, the average person does not find him charming. He don't have the clout or the connections either, which goes back to what PC was saying about the reason why he's running as a third party. Because if he could win as a major party candidate, as a Democratic candidate, you bet your ass he'd be running as a Democratic candidate.
Yeah.
But he know Joe Biden would beat his motherfucking ass up and down the ballot box, and it wouldn't even be close. Joe Biden would get so many black votes over Cornell West that he would demand Cornell West's black card, and black people would demand it as well, and everybody would laugh about it, and it would become a Saturday Night Live skit.
Now, I'm thinking about something, because with you saying he's continuing what Bernie Sanders started, and yeah, I wonder how the young people will respond to Cornell. Will it be similar to the way they responded to Bernie? Because that was the base of his voters, or the base of the people that he was targeting, the young people. And the young people are out there saying, we're voting for Bernie, we're voting for Bernie. Now, they didn't actually really vote for Bernie. Not like they said, not like they were supposed to. So I'm wondering, will the young people have the same rally cries for Cornell, and will he get the same outcome from the young people? Because, like you said, Bernie didn't win, and the young people were really championing Bernie, but when we look back at it, they did what they normally do and not really vote like that. So
That's good for a
Look,
hashtag though.
look, young people. One, this whole trying to build off the backs of young people, let's be clear, has never worked politically.
right,
Um, will he get the same response that Bernie got? No. Let's be clear about two things. One, to get young people to like you, you either have to be cool in some way they deem appropriate, or you gotta have some sort of redeeming uncle type, grandpa type quality. Barack Obama had it. Bernie Sanders had it. Cornell West does not. He does not. Because if he had it, we would have seen young people already rallying behind him.
okay. So I guess the question, because I gotta have my one big question on the table, and so that question, I'm about all the conversation that we've had, I'm sure we all don't know the answer to this once I say it, but and I start with you, PC, is voting for Cornell West good for Black America?
No. Waste of time. I mean, listen, man. Maybe he's going through like a life crisis or something. I don't know, but no. I mean, no. I can't even. I'm trying to articulate why it's this bad. Hell no. It's just a waste of time, and it's a waste of, like, seriously. I tell a lot of people, like, I'm not a big fan of voting, but it ain't because I don't think voting is important. I think voting is one of the most powerful things you can do. But you have to be organized, and you have, like Patrick said, we have to build up our local politics first before we start voting, because basically we are wasting something that's priceless, that's valuable, it's priceless in terms of the vote that we give people, and we just freely pass them out like bags of chips. When you talk about taking the political process seriously, how can you say you take it seriously if you vote for somebody that didn't even take his campaign seriously enough to put up real campaign promises, real campaign goals, things that are actually attainable, things that actually relate to the people in this country he's asking to vote for him? He just went out on a whole spill talking about he's trying to gain international support, and he's trying to do this work to make lives better for people internationally. I don't have a problem with that, but you got to take care of home first. You got people that's suffering. I was just talking to my brother Sabir Bey 2 days ago, and at the Juneteenth. Well, I won't say 2 days ago, but I was talking to him at a program we had here in Philly, and one of the things he was talking about is the fact that the homeless situation out in California, out in Los Angeles, dwarfs anything we've ever seen before. And see the situation in Philadelphia with the Kensington situation we have here in Philly. That's a bunch of people who they're hooked to they're part of that methamphetamine craze going on. But it's bad all over. How in the hell are you going to talk about global policies and taking on these worldly issues when you ain't talking about addressing the things going on at home with the same type of emphasis? And I just don't think he's taking it seriously. So why should, if you're thinking about voting for him, then you don't take your vote seriously?
Same question you, Pat. Is voting for Cornell West a good thing for Black people?
As it stands right now, it's a no. It's impossible to say yes. I mean, not only is the campaign literally unbelievable, but you were also facing the challenge of what PC just said. It's like people are doubling down on shit they know don't work. again, I bring up Donald Trump because he's the great fear of Black America, right? Like
Mhm.
Joe Biden wouldn't be in office right now if it
If Donald
wasn't for
Trump
Donald
hadn't
Trump.
won, ain't
Right.
nobody more racist, but
Um, so this is where I say the whole one of the driving forces of the Donald Trump victory was make America great again. We gonna focus on at home. We're tired of these politicians getting up here and caring more about what's happening in other countries than they do in America. And you know what? That policy has been largely effective for conservatives across the spectrum. Americans across the spectrum are tired of American politicians caring more about what's happening in other countries than they do what's happening in America. And this motherfucker is essentially doubling down on that as if Americans don't know that they don't like the shit, even though they keep saying that they don't like the shit. This shit is just it it is literally unbelievable. Like I'm like, yo, this motherfucker just sat in a dark room and was like, how the fuck can I gaslight and light and dark light as many dumb shit points as possible in one campaign? This is amazing. No,
yeah,
it's not a good idea.
it wasn't a good idea to ask you that question. Be editing for days.
You just let this one be demonetized, bro.
No, 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 no. But nah, I I don't think it's a good thing for Black America to vote for Cornell West. For one, like one of the things we PC mentioned earlier, and Pat, you also mentioned politically, the way we vote, it doesn't really make sense. Our political ignorance. So on one hand, you have these empty promises that Cornell is giving, but on the other hand, you have us who we are dedicated to the Democratic Party, but we don't vote as a bloc, we don't vote as a group, we don't vote as a power, as people with power. We're so scattered. So even if people do vote for him, it really won't matter. Um, the way we vote is just it doesn't work. It's never worked. But if we do vote for this man, I think the same thing that just happened in the past, well, with this Joe Biden presidency. So you make these promises, and the people fall for the promises, and then when they get into office, stuff get pushed to the side, and they start meeting to meet to meet to meet to meet to meet to meet. But I just don't see how the people who really understand how America runs look at these and say, "Yeah, he gonna make it." Eh, I, and even if he do make it, he's not gonna be able to do none of these things. So I do think it'll be a empty voting for Cornell West because we're not going to get anything about it. There's nothing constructive about this, and there's nothing constructive about his campaign. We're not codified. This just calls for either he not gonna make it, or if he do make it once again, it's gonna be a repeat of us getting nothing because we're not organized, we don't have no codes, and you see what he's trying to do. He gonna ensure equality for all. Yeah, right. You can't do that. So yeah, man. I just when we get closer to the election, of course, we're going to be breaking down all of these candidates, and we're going to be breaking down more that's going on with the presidential race, but also the local races and that matter to us. Because once again, our local politics ain't together. We put more emphasis on voting for the president than we do for our mayors, and that matters. The way we voting is off. We need to change, but that's why We keep saying we need to get codified. We know what we need to do, but we also understand that most of us not gonna do it. Let's get out of the idea of what we want America to be and actually work toward making America what we can make it better for us actually, and start with the idea stuff. Keep blowing smoke and man, stop this, man. Stop all that smoke blowing, man. I won't smoke for real. Hey, man, Joseph Ward, Professor Carl Tone Jones, Super Pat up in the building. This is how we do it. Break it down. Y'all voting for Cornell West? That's the title of it. Y'all voting for Cornell West? We gonna see. Hey, man, catch y'all on the other side. I appreciate everybody in the comments. I know I don't get to all the comments, but I appreciate all the comments. I appreciate all the support that everybody's giving me. King Mossy, I appreciate you. I got the shirt. I got it. You're gonna see me wearing that for my Monday video. So I got the shirt. Everybody who's been supporting on the Shows of Giants, I appreciate you. We see these views and these numbers going up. I just crossed 47,000. So let's keep pushing for this 50,000 so we can get to this 100,000 and make sure we can have the resources to give back to this community. Any way you want to support me, that's in the description. And, let's continue to do what we do. We out.